In my last podcast, I spoke about Paramahansa Yogananda Ji's life with a special focus on his young and the middle life. In today's podcast, we'll be focusing on the life of Swami Pranabananda Giri, who has been addressed as a saint with two bodies in the autobiography of a yogi. According to the autobiography of a yogi, the subtle unity of the phenomenal world is not hidden from true yogis. They can similarly transcend at will every obstacle of gross matter. Swami Pranabananda Giri was born in Hooghly near Calcutta, West Bengal, in a prestigious and a prosperous Brahmin family. His father's name was Shri Girish Chandra Mukhopadhyay, who worked as a police inspector. Swamiji's family lived at Sadgachia, West Bengal, because of which he was educated under the guardianship of his maternal uncle. Swamiji's uncle was a devoted Brahmin who performed puja and recited sacred hymns from the holy scriptures. He taught Swamiji the wisdom of Shastra in the form of a story. Swamiji was intelligent, honest, disciplined, generous, and modest from childhood. He had a natural sense of seriousness and simplicity. And at the same time, he had a great sense of humor and was a noble and had an arrogant attitude towards life. He had such a charismatic personality that he was loved by everyone. His strange ability to socialize and interact made him loving and helped him establish deep relationships with everyone. His spiritual fondness aroused in Swamiji at a very early age. In a short time, he became proficient in Kalidasi's Mahabharata, a Bengali version of great epic Mahabharata. He recited the epic with great enthusiasm and got completely immersed in singing the epic, because of which a deep affection for music also aroused in him. As far as the early life of Swami Pranavananda goes, once he fell severely ill. His parents lost all hope in him. However, after a year, he recovered slowly. As he was the only issue of his parents, in order to make his sickly body and mind happy, his studies were casted off. He was completely adorned by his uncle and did whatever he pleased. Swamiji made a musical band with other village boys. Very soon, the band started performing and gained a great reputation in the area. He, along with his other band members, started being called by the name of Matriya or Ustad. However, this association also led to the creation of bad habits in Swamiji. He, just like his Ustad, started the use of opium. At the age of 20, Swamiji's mother died. She left a baby girl. Swamiji loved his baby sister and took care of her. His father was extremely distressed with his wife's death. However, Swamiji never cared about that and spent time as he wished and enrolled in an English school. At the age of 22, as Swamiji was leading a spendthrift, lavish and never-earning life, helping the poor, paying the expenses of his friends, though life was easy, unburdened and aimless. His father, after seeing all this, told him to never return home until he was able to earn by himself, and Swamiji left home with determination. This was the starting of Swamiji's spiritual journey. At the middle age of 21, after leaving his family, Swamiji went to Banaras. Wandering deepest places, he found himself at Tirhut and joined at Tirhut State Rail. He gradually learned the skill of operating the telegraph and became a favorite for his English supervisor. Whatever he earned was spent on basic needs: opium, music, alms to wandering saints, monks, and the poor. Swamiji was regarded with great respect at his workplace and also got a promotion to the position of the Samastipur station master. At some point of time, he was initiated into tantric sadhana by some tantric guru, but because of some problem at practice, he left that path. One day, all of a sudden, he left his job without informing his supervisor. Upon seeing his resignation, the supervisor called for him to talk about why he wanted to leave. But Swamiji did not speak with him. After visiting many places, he went to Pashupatinath temple of Nepal and made acquaintance with a government employee and stayed at his residence. At that time, the telegraph was newly introduced in Nepal and officials had problem at the telegraph office operating it. Swamiji resolved the issue and this was noticed by Sri Jang Bahadur, the then king of Nepal. The king wished that Swamiji should live in Nepal, and after knowing that he was unmarried, he also arranged for a marriage proposal with a Nepalese Brahmin girl. However, Swamiji expressed his deepest regrets and returned to Banaras. At Banaras, he met his great guru Sri Shyamar Charan Lahiri Mahashaya, who initiated him to Kriya Yoga. Swamiji immersed in sadhana, and day by day his sadhana got better. Lahiri Mahashaya, his guru, was very pleased with this progress and gave more instruction upon his path and sent him to Malwa mountain to his brother's disciple to acquire more knowledge. Staying there for a while, Swamiji gained siddhis and became a Siddh. After coming back from Malwa mountain, according to the wish of Sri Lahiri Mahashaya, he went to Samastipur to his supervisor. He was overjoyed and accepted him to join back to his job as station master. In the meantime, Swamiji's father was trying to contact him, but all in vain. Again, according to the wish of Sri Lahiri Mahashaya, Swamiji wrote a letter to his father and sent him his salary. With the overwhelming joy of knowing the whereabouts of his son, after 10 years, Swamiji's father invited him to his sister's marriage. Once Swamiji got to know that his little sister was getting married, he went home and met his father, relatives and all old friends, along with the Ustad, his music teacher. During this visit, Swamiji's father asked him to marry and become a householder. Swamiji fulfilled his father's desire and married an appropriate girl. After marriage, Swamiji helped many village boys to join the railways. At the same time, he continued to regularly meet his guru at Banaras. Lahiri Mahashaya ji often asked him to stay nearer. However, one time Swamiji said to Lahiri Mahashaya ji, and I quote, "This time it will happen," as Railways was searching for an experienced station master in the nearby area and that this time he would be applying to the job. During the year, his father passed away and the family moved to his place near Banaras and lived together. Swamiji had one son and a daughter. Subsequently, after a period of married life, his longing to live the life of a sannyasi grew deeper. One day, he saw himself as an opium addict and determined strongly to renounce. After being bedridden for 1 month, he regained his health and never touched opium again in his life. It was only because of his strong will that he was able to free himself from the addiction. However, in the floods of the river Ganges, Swamiji lost his home in Banaras and gave some money to his father-in-law to construct a new home for him. But his father-in-law cheated him with a small 2-room house and used the money to construct his own house. Swamiji's wife was very attached to her father. Finally, Swamiji decided to quit worldly life and took sannyas, though his guru Sri Lahiri Mahashaya ji prohibited him to do so. Swamiji asked Adishwar Srimad Swami Atmananda Giri Maharaj of Kailash Mutt for sannyas diksha. In the starting, Maharaj ji showed some concerns, however, later on accepted him to initiate. After taking sannyas diksha, Swamiji applied for the disability pension from his job because he did not like sannyasis to beg for food in the streets. Upon the request of his supervisor, he became eligible for pension benefits. He was granted ₹7 per month. He enthusiastically abandoned all ties and began his journey on the path of a sannyasi. He attained the state of Paramahansa. Swamiji was named Srimad Swami Pranabananda Giri Pari Vrajak Acharya. He stayed and served his sannyas guru and often visited his yoga guru Sri Lahiri Mahashaya as well. and followed his directions in the sadhana. During this period, Swamiji was fortunate enough to meet Mahavatar Babaji, as Swamiji regularly requested Lahiri Mahashaya to see his Guru. In his rendezvous with Mahavatar Babaji, Babaji told Swamiji, and I quote, "You are on the right path. Keep walking. You will find peace in the journey." During this time, Swamiji developed a huge following of his own. He not only helped his disciples in Kriya Yoga, but also took care to see that his disciples completed their karmic duties. Even though Swamiji's disciple offered him money to build an ashram at Banaras, he never accepted it. According to Swamiji, being a sannyasi, he would never build a property again. His disciple Sanananda constructed an ashram after Swamiji's death and named it a Panchavati ashram at Rishikesh. But goddess Ganga watched that in floods and kept Swamiji's words about not building any ashram to reality. A special mention to Swamiji is given in the autobiography of a yogi, where Shri Paramahansa Yogananda Ji mentioned him as a saint with two bodies. According to the Bengali calendar, a day before Jagadatri Puja, knowing that his last day has approached, Swamiji at the appropriate time gave blessings to his disciples and through the power of yoga went into Mahasamadhi. That is all for this session of the USB show. See you in the next episode. Namaskar, stay home, stay safe, and try looking for answers within.